Welcome to the virtual seminar. Welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. We're going to be together all day. Going to give you absolutely a ton of information. You're going to love what we're going to do today. If you have a pencil and paper, that's important because I'll give you lots of notes to take as we go along. You're going to meet a lot of people. This is really a fast-moving workshop. So it's a virtual workshop, so you'll be able to stop and start when you want to. You can have lunch, you can have dinner, you can have breakfast, whatever you like to do. We're glad to have you here. I like to call this a webinar and seminar and workshop. I like to call it Wealth Without Risk. So I'm going to start out and introduce you to some of the people. Now, I'm the founder of the business. My name is Ted Thomas. I started doing this about 35 years ago, and a lot of people have come on board to help me out. And I'm going to just take a couple of minutes and introduce those people to you because they're all here for one reason only, and that's to help you out. So welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. So this is the whole team that we've put together. So I'm going to start on the left and move to the right. And that's Bill Williams. He's a coach, and he's going to talk to you a little later on today about tax lien certificates. He's an expert. I've never seen anybody do what he did with tax liens, but sometimes when a county is paying 18%, he sometimes earns 19%. So it's amazing. He really knows it. You're going to visit with him a little later. The other gentleman next to him from Georgia is Bob Schumacher. He's a coach, been with me for over 20 years. And then there's Crystal. She's from California. She's been with me for the same period of time. Now, these people learned from me. They stayed with it. They're really experts at tax liens and tax deeds. Now, Rupi is from Toronto. She's a relatively new student, but she's outside the country buying tax defaulted property inside the country. So we're going to show you how to do that. Now, the Wisconsin couple you're looking at, I'm amazed at what they did. They started out, they're both seniors. They started out in November in the snow of Wisconsin and Michigan. And within less than 30 days, they did their first deal. And they didn't just do a deal to make $5,000 or $10,000. They made almost $40,000. I won't have time to give you all the details, but you'll get it as we go along. And then again, from Canada, Vancouver, Canada, is another coach. His name is DJ. And DJ has been with me for a number of years and done a lot of things. He's also a strategist. Now, speaking of strategy, let's get on to road 2 here. And that's Paul. He's over in Utah. You'll get to meet Paul today. Now, Paul's a strategist, and he's helped us a lot in the past. He learned this a number of years ago, and he had a little struggle getting through the whole thing. But now he's a big-time investor in this. He's been doing it a number of years, and you'll get to meet with and talk with him. Now, right next to him is a facilitator from California, and his name is Matt. Now, Matt will probably be answering some calls with you because when we run this virtual webinar, I keep saying webinar, and it's really not it's a Zoom call. But the point is, when we run this whole thing, there's going to be a chance for you guys to submit your questions, and Matt will probably be one of the people that answer it. Now, we have a lot of facilitators on our team. So from Florida, you see a couple of them there. First one is Adriana. She won't be answering the phone, but she'll be a facilitator to help you after you get started. And then there's Matt. He's a tech guy. He's right here in the studio with me, but he's also a facilitator. He just came back from doing a big deal in Texas. So he actually goes to events, and he's a tech guy. He can show you how to buy online. Now, right next to him is Linda, and Linda's the same thing. She's a facilitator. She'll help you out, and we do classes every single day for our clients. Those classes are actually free for our people that are clients. And next to her is from Florida is Kim Simon. Now, Kim is not only the director of training, but she helps as a facilitator, and she's been doing this for a number of years too. And then the final facilitator from Utah is going to be Anna. All right, so you're going to have all those people to help you. They all do a class every day. So our whole team is involved in helping you. So you're going to see as I go through this, you're going to learn just a ton of information today. And a lot of people are going to contribute, as you'll see as we go along. Now, in Panama, I have another tech guy. He's there on the left, and his name is Chris. And Chris helps us not only track all of the orders that we take, but he tracks all our electronic systems. I have the only electronic systems in the world for people to learn things, and I'll tell you about those later on. All right, and then again from Canada, from Montreal, we have another person that helps us with the clients and some of the other products we have, and her name is Sherry. All right, and then from the Philippines, he's always on, and we got a 12-hour time to. This is a guy that handles all the customer relations things that we handle on Zoom. All right, and we do Zoom, and we have to do things to keep track of people, and he's going to be on the call for the whole day with us. And then again from Montreal, the best copywriter in the world. So if you're on this call, you're here because you got an email. So this gentleman is named David Williams, and David is done here the best copyright I've ever got involved in. Why? Because he writes, and so you understand it and you respond to it. We have people say, don't knock me off the email. I'm not going to quit. I just want to get David's email. He's a great storyteller and you're absolutely going to love him. Now, everything that we do, we record on video. To help us with video is a guy from Panama, and his name is Pavel. He and Linda work together. Linda's right above him. They work together and they do a lot of video, and also with Lance, because we record a lot of the things we do. Now, we also do a blog. So if you're aware of the blog, then you're hearing from Linda, from another Linda, which is from Missouri. So she's right there and she's going to help us with things like that. So anything that has to do with the blog, she does. Then finally, that's me in the picture. I don't know why they put me there, but well, welcome aboard. So welcome. We're glad to have you guys here. I'm going to give you a few words and then I'll get right into the program. Again, I'm Ted Thomas. Welcome to the event. We're going to be all day. We start at 11 o'clock in the morning. We finish as close as we can to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You're going to learn a ton of information. Get a cold drink or a warm drink, whatever you want. Get a pencil and pad. Write some notes. We'll give you the ability to ask questions a little later on. Okay, so here we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, you are about to discover a little-known government program called tax certificates that allows you to write a check to the government and get a check back from the government with a return on your money that can be 16, 18, 24, and all the way up to 36%. My very special guest today is self-made millionaire Ted Thomas, a man who has made millions and millions of dollars for himself and his students over the past 25 years, teaching them how anybody can profit with tax certificates.
Anybody can make money, and I found that out at age 19. I was a high school dropout.
You don't have to have a college degree to use Ted's program.
It's really just about learning the process.
Anybody can do this business as long as you have the right guidance.
Ted is a best-selling author, a highly sought-after lecturer. Ted Thomas is quite simply the most trusted and respected authority in America when it comes to tax certificates. And the good news is anybody can buy them anywhere across this great country, and you can do it with any level of income or education.
So you can get into this business for, $100, $50 bill.
The tax lien was only $67.12.
The big guy, the little guy, anybody can use it.
The least expensive tax lien certificate that we bought was $27, and we bought about 400 of them over the next year and made about $100,000 profit that year.
Okay, so let's get started, folks. I want you to follow along with me. And for the rest of today, I'm going to give you transformational ideas. Now, these ideas are going to be things that you can put to work when you finish this event. So this is really a big deal. Now, everything is proven and tested, and I'm going to show you how to grow financially. Now, that's why most people are here, and that's exactly what we're going to try to do with you. All right, now you're about to see and to hear people that have done this. In other words, these are people that have gone out and followed the step-by-step process that I teach. And what they're doing now is they're making safe, secure money with tax certificates, and they're making giant dollars with tax defaulted property. So we're going to teach you both today. So it's not just one thing. We're going to teach you tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property. So I'm going to show you real life documented examples. All right. So these aren't just what some people say, a testimonial. These are really people that are doing it. You'll see the step-by-step process. This material really works, and you'll get to see people making money with it. So this is the kind of thing that could change your economic life. I'm serious. It could change your life, and you're going to see people that that's happened to today. So welcome aboard. Now, I do this stuff myself, and I've done this by teaching other people. For years, I've taught people how to do this. This is my over 30 years of doing the same thing, tax liens and tax defaulted property. So this is really a part-time adventure for you, but you're going to be able to make full-time money. Now, we teach people to make $25,000, $50,000, even $100,000 on one single deal. So we're not in the business of teaching you how to make $3,000 or $4,000. We're going to show you how to make real money so that you can use this money to do a retirement if you want, or financial independence, whatever it is that you're after. We're going to be able to show you how to do all that. All right, now I'm going to show you, before we finish, a step-by-step process, one deal after another deal. And again, I'm very serious about how much money we make. Now, we teach people, don't get in the deal and do all this work to just make pennies. We're going to show you how to buy the property right. Then we're going to show you how to have a margin between what you're going to sell it for, show you how to sell it, we're going to be one of the only places where you're going to learn how to actually sell. We're going to show you how to sell these properties. We're going to teach you to buy it low, and we're going to teach you to sell it low. We're going to teach you to make $25,000, $50,000, and even $100,000. Now, how am I going to do that? I'll show you some real world case histories from people all across the United States and people that are outside the United States. So we have lots of clients that are outside the United States buying inside the United States, and we can teach you how to do that online. So stay with me, just kind of open up your mind. You're going to see this is a nice way to make money, and we're getting ready to get started immediately. So here we go. We're going to start talking about tax lien certificates. All right, now give you the secrets of doing this, and this is where you can buy tax lien certificates, pay pennies on the dollar, and earn 16, 18, 24, up to 36%. I'm also going to show you how to buy tax defaulted property. Now, the tax defaulted property is unusual because the treasurer doesn't buy. The treasurer actually sells the property at a very low price. The low price is the back taxes in most cases. So it's discounted 60%, 70%, 80%. Imagine getting an 80% discount on a property. We're going to show you that. And I'm actually going to show you the steps so you can buy these properties for 15, 20, 30 cents on the dollar, and there'll be no mortgage, no deed of trust. So write that down. No mortgage, no deed of trust. Now, how do we get to do that? Well, you're going to discover not only can we make these high rates on tax defaulted property and tax lien certificates, you're going to make safe money on government certificates, and you're also going to be able to buy tax defaulted property 60, 70, 80% discounts with no mortgage or deed or trust loan. Now, why does that all happen? Because it's in the law in every single county in the United States. All right, so we're going to talk about government certificates to get started. These are tax lien certificates. So what I'd like you to do is take a close look at the screen. On the left side, you can see a property. Now, that could be an office building. It could be a warehouse. It could be a farm. It could be any property, okay? Real estate property. All right, now those real estate properties all are taxable. The legislature requires every property in the United States to pay a property tax. Now, that tax is due to the local county. Now, if you're outside the United States, it's going to be due to the local county government. All right, so now, what is the tax going to be? Generally speaking, it's going to be about 1%. Now, it's going to be a little higher in some places like New Jersey and New York and some California. Some of the high-priced states going to be a little higher, but generally speaking, tax is 1%. Now, what happens if the people don't pay the tax? In half of the states, they're going to issue a tax lien certificate. So follow the arrows. It goes to the government center, and then let's come down and you see the tax lien certificate. All right, tax lien certificates are usually sold to the lowest bidder. They're usually sold to the lowest bidder. You might want to make a note on that. Now, when you buy a tax lien certificate, you have no right to go on the property. You don't have anything to do with the property. You just get a piece of paper, and you have a right to earn interest on that. All right, half of the states sell tax lien certificates. The other states are going to sell tax defaulted property. Now, we sell tax defaulted. Follow the arrows on the right. It goes down. You'll get a tax deed, and those are sold to the highest bidder at the auction. So the auction's a little bit different, but they're all public auctions. Anybody can go. And you find out about the public auctions on the county at the county website, and you can find them online, and you can find them in the local newspaper. So put that in the back of your mind. How do you find those auctions? There's going to be 5,000 auctions this year. There's 3,200 counties. They're all going to have one or more auctions this year. Now, when you pay the taxes and you buy a tax lien certificate, you're paying someone else's tax bill. When you buy a tax lien certificate, you're paying someone else's tax bill. That gives you, when you get that certificate, which is just a piece of paper, that gives you the number one position. That means you are the first lien on that property. You're ahead of the mortgage, you're ahead of the IRS, you're ahead of any court judgment. You own the number one lien. Now, what does that mean to you? It means you now control the property. Property can't be sold. It can't be mortgaged. Nothing can happen on that property until you get paid. So the beauty of tax lien certificate is you invest with the government, you're going to get a check back from the government. So let's do that again. You can't buy them from Ted Thomas. You're going to invest with the government, you're going to get a check back from the government. So tax lien certificates, only two things can happen. One, you get paid. That's a good deal because the interest rates are so high, 16, 18, 24, up to 36%. Those are the highest rates. All right, all of those rates, you could earn that much money. All right, checks coming from the government. Now, if you don't get paid on a tax certificate, then you're going to be authorized to take that property. Well, what a great deal that is. If you don't get paid, you're going to buy a property for pennies on the dollar. How much will you have paid? You will have only paid to buy that tax lien certificate. So what are we talking about here? We're really talking about the safest and the most lucrative investment in America today. Safest, most lucrative investment in America today. Can't buy them from me. You invest with the government, you're going to get a check back from the government. All right, now let's think about the rates. All right, I'm giving you the highest rates that each one of these states are going to pay. So in Arizona, it's like 16. In Iowa, it's like 24. In Illinois, it's 36. And I'll go over these again and again, but you might want to make some notes as you go along. These are rates that are on the certificate, and you're guaranteed to get that rate. Now, some people, they make money on their investments every time. And the way you do that is you own these tax lien certificates. People that own tax lien certificates, they make money every time, because when they raise their hand at the auction and they buy that piece of paper, when they buy that, it's written right on it that the government's going to pay you that interest rate. So you'll know that you're going to get paid on the tax lien certificate, and you make a nice rate of return. Now, bank rates, 1%, 2%, or 3%, but tax lien certificates are significantly higher than that. All right, now the tax collector, when you raise your hand to buy that certificate, you're going to buy it at auction, and the tax collector is going to be there right along with the treasurer at the auction, and they're going to put your name right in the county records at that point in time that you own the #1 lien on that property. So the property can't be sold, can't be mortgaged. They can't do anything with that property until they pay you. And if they don't pay you, you're going to get the property without a mortgage, okay? The mortgage and the deed of trust are crossed out when you buy a property in tax lien auction, or I should say when you buy a certificate at tax lien auction, or you buy a property at a tax defaulted auction. In both cases, the mortgage is wiped out. Now, I didn't make that rule. As you can see by looking at the side, it's the law in every county in the United States. So let's talk a little bit about these rates, because now you can lock in rates. These rates don't go up and down with the stock market. They don't go up and down with any market. They stay firm all the time. So whatever rate you buy the certificate at, then that's the rate you're going to get paid. So in Arizona, if you bought a certificate today, okay, bought it today, and then 1 year from now, they paid off, you could earn up to 16%. All right, that means you'd get all your money back plus 16%. Well, it gets better in some of these other states. For example, Illinois, in the first 6 months, so starting day one here and going 180 days, you can earn 18%. But in Illinois, they are allowed the certificate to stay outstanding as much as another 6 months. So add another 6 months, so 18 and 18, 36% in the state of Illinois. We're talking about serious money here, 18%. That's one heck of investment, that's for sure. Now, Georgia, I'll tell you a lot about Georgia today. In Georgia, they sell redeemable deeds. That deed, if you bought the deed today, and the people come back anytime during that year, anytime they come in and they want to take it back, well, they have to pay you whatever you paid plus 20%. So the minimum payment in Georgia is 20%. What does that mean? If you bought a certificate today and they come in and paid it off in 1 week, you would earn 20%. So the minimum rate of return in Georgia, that's a penalty return, is 20%. Now, there's other states like that too, and I'll show you as we go along. All right, now Iowa, if you raise your hand like I'm doing now in Iowa, you buy that certificate, you're going to issue a piece of paper. That certificate can pay all the way up to 24%. So during that year, it's earning 2% for every single month that the people don't pay the tax. Now think about that. If you put money in the bank, making 2 up to 3% for the year is sounding pretty good. Okay, that's what bank rates are. But here, Iowa is paying 2% for every month that you're invested. Every month you get 2%. All right, let's cover one more. I'm not covering all the states. Remember, half of the counties in the United States are authorized to sell tax lien certificate. All the counties in the United States are authorized to sell tax defaulted property. But half of them, those are very benevolent counties, very benevolent states, they sell tax lien certificates. All right, so let's take a look at Texas. In Texas, they sell a redeemable deed. All right, so when they sell that, you buy it today, it could stay outstanding, unpaid, for only 180 days. So anytime during this 180 days, if they come in to redeem their property, if they come in to pay you, you get all your money back plus 25%. Now think about what I just said. Texas has 254 counties. They have an auction every single month in Texas. That means there's 250 auctions just in Texas every month. And you could earn 25% any day from day 1 to day 180. Now, in day 180, if they haven't paid you, then you can take the property. Can you imagine 180 days later, if they haven't paid you, you can take the property. Now, take a good look at that slide that you're looking at now. My favorite state is Georgia. Why Georgia? Well, I'll tell you why. If you bought a certificate today in Georgia and it stayed outstanding all year, well, they would owe you 20%, as you can see, at the end of the year. All right. Now, at the end of the year, you could start a foreclosure if you wanted to. But I tell my clients, don't foreclose. Just hold on. Let the certificate go to the next year. Let it go over to the 366th day. And what's going to happen then? Well, now the certificate no longer pays 20%. It pays a whopping 30%. And a year after that, it pays 40%. And a year after that, it pays 50%. You're getting the idea. This is a powerful way to make money. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been teaching people for about half of that time. And I'm telling you right now, this is a way to make money. It's been around for 200 years. I did not invent this system. The government invented this system 200 years ago to have an alternative investment. You can do this. You can start small. You can start big. You can start anywhere you want. Quick review. Every property in the United States on the left could be an office building, could be a ranch, a farm, small apartment property. It all has a tax. Tax is usually about 1%. It's owed to the local county. All right. If you're in a state that sells tax lien certificates, all right, you could get a certificate. Okay, those certificates are sold at auction. They're public auctions. Anybody can go to it. Those are announced on the county website. They're also announced in the newspaper. All right. It could be a tax defaulted state. So that means they're going to sell a tax deed. All right. When they sell the tax deed, that simply means you're going to get the property right there at the auction. All right. So here's the deal. You think about what I'm going to say right now. If you go out and start a business and you're an entrepreneur and you start a business, good for you. But when you do, that has a high risk. So does the government guarantee that you're going to make that business a success? No. All right. But I tell you what, if you buy a tax lien certificate, the government in that county gives you the right to get back all of your money plus the high interest rate. The government gives you the right to get back all your money plus the high interest rate. If you don't get paid, you get the property. Folks, this is an amazing investment. You can earn all the way up to 36%. Now, people ask me all the time, they say, Ted, why on earth is the government selling these certificates? The government uses property taxes to pay for local government. In other words, the property tax is mandated by the legislature. And the money that comes in that's generated from property tax, well, that's what pays all the bills at the county. For example, pays for the police department, pays for the firefighters, pays for the roads. In other words, you got to have somebody to fix the roads, okay? Somebody to run, how about the schools? Going to take care of all the school teachers and the schools themselves. All of those bills are paid with property tax. So if the county can't collect the tax, the county has a big problem. So what they do is they confiscate properties that don't have the taxes paid, and then they sell those properties. But half of the states are benevolent, so they sell a tax lien first, and then if that tax lien doesn't get paid, then they're going to sell the property. This is an investment that you can take advantage of, and you can start tomorrow. There's going to be 5,000 auctions this year. There's over 3,200 counties in the United States that are selling these. Now, a question comes up. Why haven't you heard about this? Why haven't you heard about it? Well, I'm going to tell you. Brokers aren't going to tell you about it. Financial planners don't tell you about it. Lawyers don't tell you about it. Why do these people not tell you about that? Well, it's very, very simple. They can't earn a commission on this. And we live in a country where those people only earn money. Salespeople make money on commissions. All right. The government doesn't allow tax lien certificates. They allow no commissions. So is the attorney going to tell you about it? Is the financial planner going to tell you about it? The broker going to? Those people earn their money on commission. So they can't make any money. So there's no reason they're going to tell you about it. I'm telling you about it now. Now that you know about it, understand you can do this in over 3,000 counties across this great country. So let's learn step by step how to do this. Now, I don't know how old you are, but you can be 16 or 61, wherever you want to be, or even older, and you can buy tax defaulted property, and you can buy tax lien certificates. Now, right now, I'm covering the tax lien certificate. So I want to introduce you to someone that's going to buy some tax lien certificate. And they're going to do that by getting a list and going to the auction. So this guy's name is Rocco. Now, I want you to look behind him, and you can see properties there. You can see a couple of houses, but if you look over his right shoulder, you can see there's some construction behind him. So he went to the auction, and he found a couple of properties that were for sale, and he found 27 lots. So he bought them. And when I say when he bought them, he didn't get the property. He bought the tax lien. So he raised his hand, and he got a piece of paper. That's all he got was a piece of paper. All right. Now, does he have to go manage that? Does he have to paint it? Does he have to clean it? Does he have to cut the grass? He doesn't have to do anything. He's just got a piece of paper that's going to entitle him to collect cash. So let's see what happens to him.
I bought tax certificates, people that did not pay their taxes. I paid their taxes. I paid around $6,900, just shy of $7,000. I got 18% of my money. I just got redeemed in December, and I got $1,890 back, which is 18% on your money. Where in the economy of today with the banks and the mutual fund are you going to get 18% of your money? It's not going to happen.
Folks, think what he did. He bought the tax certificate, took it home, put it on his desk, and then he sat on his rusty dusty. He didn't have to do anything. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the safest investment in America today. Why? Because we invest with the county, we're getting a check back from the county. Remember, every property has a tax. They have to pay the tax to the county. If they don't pay the tax to the county's either going to issue a tax lien certificate, which we just demonstrated, or the county's going to auction the property off and sell the actual property. I'm going to show you how to do both of those. Now, look, folks, I'm a solutions guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some solutions. I'm actually going to give you, before we finish today, I'm going to give you a game plan. Now, if you'll follow the game plan that I give you, I'll guarantee you'll be successful. If you'll just follow the step-by-step process, this was created before people could read and write. This is an easy system to do, but it's going to take you a few minutes to learn it. So just kind of get the learning process down, make some notes as you go along. All right, so what's the solutions people need? A lot of people have cash flow problems. Well, tax lien certificates solve the cash flow problem right away because these are cash flow certificates. In other words, you buy the certificate, and when the people come in and pay, which 97% of these people are going to come in and pay, when they pay, you're going to have nice cash flow. So what's the other problem people have? Well, people, they want to grow in their job, they want to grow in their responsibility, and they want to grow their money. So I basically show them how to do both of these things. I show them how to have more cash flow, and I'm going to show them how to grow your portfolio and have more money in the future. All right, so stay with me because I'm going to show you different solutions, okay? Now, these solutions, when it comes to tax defaulted property, I'm going to tell you right now, tax defaulted properties and tax lien certificate, especially the certificates, are predictable, they're certain, and they're secure. So, folks, this is a low-risk business with high reward. All right, this is a business you can do in less than 10 hours every single month. All right, this is a lucrative business. Why do I say that? Because the rates that we're going to talk about are mandated by law. I can't change the rate. County can't change the rate. It's mandated by law. So I call this a safe haven investment when you're buying tax lien certificate. So you're going to invest with the government, and now you're going to get a check back. Now, you're probably getting used to this slide, and you get a good feel for it now. So every property has a tax, all right? Now, when the government comes along, if it's a tax lien certificate where that's located, they're going to sell tax lien certificate. Other states are going to sell tax defaulted property. Not to worry, I'm going to show you both of those. All right, so let's take a step back, take a little breath, and let's see if we can think about where we're going in the future. Now, most people, what they're thinking of is they want to make $25,000, $50,000, even $100,000 new income this year. So definitely don't quit your job. Keep your job, keep that job, and let's start thinking about that. So what I'd like you to do, just relax where you are now, and just let your eyes close for a second and visualize $50,000 or $100,000. So let your eyes close and visualize that. You're going to have a nice feeling as you do that. All right, I'm interested in you being able to grow to that kind of level. So open your eyes back up, and let's see if we can start taking you to a level where you're going to make a handful of dollars, not just 5 or 7 or 10,000. We're going to talk about making $25,000, $50,000, and $100,000. So what did we just see? We just watched Rocco, and what did he do? He bought tax lien certificates. All right, so he bought the tax lien certificate. There was no work to do. It was a passive investment. All right, now, when the people came in and paid, you saw that he made a nice rate of return. Well, folks, what would happen if the people didn't come in and pay? Well, if they didn't come in and pay, you would get the property. So I want you to imagine for a second What if you bought a property that had a high value and you bought it for pennies and then the people didn't come in and pay? Well, I can tell you right now, read the bottom of the slide. When the auction takes place, the mortgage is wiped out. It's wiped off the property, or if it's a deed of trust, it's wiped off the property. So now let's look and meet. This is Drew and Risha. Now they followed the exact game plan that I told them to follow. Now, what was that game plan all about? It said, start out with tax lien certificates. Nice, easy way to start. All right. So they found out that, just like I told you, that these certificates are safe, secure investments. Well, that's what they wanted. Safe and secure. They're a young couple. They're starting a family. So they want it safe and secure. But they also learned that if they bought that certificate and didn't get paid, they were going to get the keys to that property. Wouldn't you like to do the same thing? Well, it happens every single day. So what's happened to them is they purchased a tax lien certificate in Phoenix, Arizona. They purchased a certificate for $11,000. All right, now that might be a lot of money to most people, but in the overall scheme of things, that's not a lot of money. So they paid back taxes and paid $11,000 for the certificate. All right, now they don't have any work to do because this is a passive investment. So they took their certificate home, they just set it on their desk, and they set it on the Rusty Dusty. Well, they're a young family growing up and so on, so they had a lot to do. So Risha stays home and takes care of the kids. Drew goes to work every day. And let's look at the bottom of the screen. So they bought a tax lien certificate for $11,000. You might recall in Arizona, 16% was the highest rate, and that's what they had on their certificate. Now, if they took the money and put it in the bank, they would have made 2 or 3%. But instead, they're going to make 16%. So they assumed they would make $1,500 on that certificate each year that it was invested. Well, they left the money invested, but the people didn't come in and pay their tax. So I always tell people the same thing. Whenever you hear me say this, you'll hear it again and again. Don't buy anything unless you look at it. Now, you ladies know what I'm talking about. You wouldn't marry the guy unless you looked at it. All right, so guess what? They did go out and look. They went out and looked at the property, all right? Turned out it was one of the units in this long building. Now, this is a long building of condominiums, and they're all built right on the water. And the tax assessed value is $180,000. Well, they own a certificate, so they have no rights to go to the property. They just have to wait until the people come in and pay. Well, they waited 1 year, then they waited 2 years, they waited 3 years, and the people did not come in and pay. So at that point in time, if you don't get paid, that means you can foreclose on the property. So they hired an attorney, and that's exactly what they did. They went through the foreclosure process, and the judge awarded them the property. Now, you remember, the value was $180,000 and they invested $11,000. The judge awarded them the property. So what did they do when they got the property? Well, they rented it out. So they rented it out long enough to get all of their $11,000 back. And then they decided they wanted to sell it. I thought you'd like to visit with them, so I brought them along today so you can visit with them too. This is quite interesting.
It's a lot easier than you think. It's not so scary once you know, okay, you can just ask these questions. And we turned to Ted, we turned to all his education, we turned to the coaching staff to get the questions we have answered because they're experts.
This particular property was a very nice property, and in our opinion, nice enough to actually live in. We were in it total for $11,000.
Both of those. And we rented that at $12.25 for 15 months.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we collected all the money back from our initial investment and more.
And more.
And then after holding it as a rental for some time, then we decided, okay, the property is appreciating so quickly.
Yeah.
Phoenix was really hot, so it was appreciating so quickly. We ended up selling the property, and the sales price was?
We had a contracted sales price of $184,000, and $169,000 hit our bank account.
Wow, folks, $169,000 hit their bank account. How many deals like that would you have to do in your life to be happy? You'd be pretty darn happy, that's for sure. Now, they didn't sell it themselves. They actually used Zillow, so they paid a commission on doing that. But after paying the commission, they had $169,000. So think about that. They invested $11,000, and they not only got the 11 back on the rental, but now they got another $169,000. So for every dollar they invested, they got another $17 back. Folks, how about one deal like that? Could you be happy with one deal like that? Well, of course you could. So the point is, We're teaching people how to do this. You can do the same thing. These auctions are taking place in 1,500 counties. 1,500 counties will have tax defaulted property. So you want to ask yourself this question. Would it be in your best interest to learn how to do this? I already know the answer is yes. So now you want to start thinking about, when are you going to get started? Because this business has been around for 200 years. You just need to think about getting started. Now, I'm going to tell you up front, 64% of my clients are women. And why do I have so many women? Well, I'll tell you. They like the investment aspects of this, of buying it and then reselling it. Now, a lot of guys like this business because they like to buy properties that are fixtures and they like to do that. Not to worry, I'm going to cover both of those. But I'm going to tell you, women really love this business. And why do they like it? Because they don't have to do fixer-upper if they don't want to. So learning this skill is certainly going to be in your best interest. Now, how much do you want what you want? Now, you spend time and effort to come here today. We're happy to have you. You're going to really get 10 times your money's worth on this particular webinar. I keep calling it a webinar. It's really a virtual event, but you're getting the idea. You're going to get your money worth over and over and over. All right. So if you're doing things traditionally, I'm going to start introducing you to things that are a little bit different. My viewpoint's different. And if you're receptive, you're going to see this is a way to make great money. All right. Now, with this slide up, I need to pause for a second here because a lot of people saying to themselves, Ted, this sounds too good to be true. Now, I understand that because I've been doing this for 30 years. In that 30 years, I've heard that so many times. As a matter of fact, one of the things that really brought it home to me is I went a number of years ago. Now, I used to be young, but then I had black hair. I had lots of it, and I was skinny. Well, that's all gone in the way, by the wayside, I should say. Well, I can tell you this. I went to CBS and NBC and said, I want to make an infomercial. They said, what do you want to make an infomercial about? I said, tax liens and tax deeds. They said, okay, tell us what that is. So I told them what it was. And they said, the words you see on the screen, this sounds too good to be true. And they said, we can't make an infomercial on that unless you can have an attorney tell us that it's real. I said, well, how about if I get the attorney to come and be part of the infomercial that we do? They said, well, if you're going to get an attorney to come on and tell us that this is perfectly legal and we don't have to worry about it, well, we'll listen to that. So folks, watch what I did and you'll really appreciate this.
Ted, I have to tell you, when we heard about your system, the producers of this show said this sounds almost too good to be true. And they wanted to get an outside opinion from an attorney. So we contacted real estate expert, attorney, and the author of the New York Times bestseller, How Come That Idiot's Rich and I'm Not? Welcome now, Robert Sheeman. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Lynn, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Now, Robert, Ted Thomas has been telling us about tax certificate investing and how it is a government-backed program and totally legal. And we wanted to verify with an outside legal and real estate expert like yourself that what Ted is saying is true.
Well, it's not only for real, and it's not only absolutely true, but it's legal and it's statutory. It's not just out there as some investment. This is backed, approved, and written by state governments. This is how the governments collect their tax money when people don't pay their property taxes.
So is it safe to say that this is not a far-fetched get-rich-quick scheme and that tax certificates are a predictable, certain, and secure investment that is government-sponsored and backed up by property tax laws in each state?
That's right. They occur everywhere. Wherever there's a property tax to be collected, they're legal, they work, the returns can be absolutely fantastic, and this is all for real.
Robert, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Well, folks, I hope all this is making sense to you because this has been around for over 200 years. So make some notes. Tax lien certificates pay high interest rates. You just need to learn how to do it. You can find out about the auctions at the county records, and you can find out about them in the newspaper. So let's continue from there. All right, so tax certificates are safe and secure. So let's take a look at this particular slide. All right, the slide is black and white, but you know the law pertaining to tax liens and tax deeds is also black and white, just like the slide, black and white. So the law is right in the middle of the slide. You get paid or you get the property. So I didn't make that rule. So this is a predictable, certain, and secure investment. So why don't we learn how to make some money with these tax certificates? If you'll get a pencil and paper out and write a few things down as we go along right now, I'll be able to show you how to make money with tax lien certificates. And I'll do that by telling you a very quick story about someone that I've known for years in Phoenix, Arizona, who called me on the phone and said, You put $2,000 in the bank. And I said, well, why did you put $2,000 in the bank? Remember, the bank's only paying 2 or 3%. And he said, oh, well, Ted, I'm 35 today and I want to retire when I'm 55. And I said, oh, okay, I understand. I said, well, if you're going to retire, how long are you going to leave the money in the bank? He said, I'm going to leave the money in the bank for 20 years. I said, okay, let me see if I understand. You put $2,000 in the bank at 3% or whatever rate. What's your rate? He said, 3.75. I said, okay, 3.75. All right. And you're going to leave it there the whole time? He said, yes. I said, how much is it going to be worth at the end of that time? He said, well, I don't know what it's going to be worth in 20 years. I said, look, you have to know what it's worth because it's your retirement. He said, well, can you figure it out? So I just took my telephone. Now your telephone also has a calculator. So in the calculator, I put the $2,000 that he had, and then I put 3.75. That was the interest rate. And I did it once. Then I just reiterated it 19 more times. So that means I'm now going to know what it's worth in 20 years. So his $2,000 is going to be worth a whopping $4,129. Now, folks, you don't want to make those deadly mistakes. You don't want to do that. And I told him, I said, Dave, you don't want to make a mistake like that. He said, what should I do? I said, well, I'm not a financial planner. Okay. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a mortgage broker. I'm not any of those things. I said, you need to decide for yourself. He said, well, can I buy tax lien certificates in Arizona? And you already know you can. He said, how much could I make in Arizona? I said, you can make 16%. He said, well, how much would I have in 30 years? I said, how about we do 20 years? And he said, okay. So I put it in the calculator. All right. He's got how much money? $2,000, except in Arizona, you get 16%. So I put 16% in, and I just did it one more year. So what I did is you can see right on the screen, 16% times the 2,000 for 1 year. Then I just reiterated 19 more times. How much is that going to be worth? Well, it's not going to be $4,100. It's going to be $30,000. Folks, think about what I just did. I only changed the interest rate. Now, this is your event. This is where you learn. Now, if you're learning, you decide, do you want to put the money in the bank or do you want to buy the tax certificate? It's up to you. It doesn't matter to me which one you do, but it's going to make a big difference in your future. So Dave came right back to me and he said, wait a minute, Ted, what about other states? And I said, well, for me, I would go and try and do it in Iowa. He said, I don't want to drive to Iowa. I said, no, we could do it online. He says, you mean I can buy tax certificates online? I said, absolutely. He said, well, I want you to figure it out right now. What if I did it and I invested my $2,000 in Iowa certificates? So I did. I took my calculator. I put $2,000. Okay. Iowa pays 24%. I hope you're writing this down. 24%. He said, well, how much is it worth in 20 years? I said, in 20 years? Well, let's see. Let's do the math together. Okay. Now I know what's going on in your head. You guys are afraid you're going to lose your assets. I know you're afraid of that. All right. This program's not going to let you down. So repeating 24% times $2,000, do it 1 year, then do it 19 more times. Folks, there's the answer. Wow. 120. So you decide, you want to put money in the bank and have 4,000, or do you want to buy Iowa certificate? It's going to be up to you. But the point is, I'm getting across to you, this is a powerful investment environment that all of you can take advantage of. And you should take it. You can't buy them from me. You have to buy them from the local government. So I hope you're learning a lot today and learning about these tax lien certificates. Now, as I said, all right, every property has a tax. All right, half of the states sell tax lien certificates. All right, and half of the states sell tax defaulted property. All right, with tax lien certificates, it's safe, it's secure, it's predictable. Anybody can do it. You can start out with $2,000. You can start out with $100,000. All right. Tax defaulted property means you're going to get the property. All right. So now think about where we are. Folks, if you had to start all over again, would you want to do that? Probably not. Would you switch professions? Probably not. But you know, what if you could do something part-time? So let's take a close look at the bottom of that slide. Folks, a lot of people make money. They don't have to work too hard. So if you raised your hand and bought a certificate and just let it sit on your desk, that's not too hard to do. So you'd have to do some research to learn how to do it. So you're getting the idea. This is an investment for works for people that are watching me right now. So I made some pretty big discoveries, which I'm going to share with you, and you're just really going to be surprised. I'm going to show you how this works, but let me just do a quick review so that you understand what takes place with tax certificates. So I decided when I learned this, I wanted to buy in Baltimore, Maryland. Now, Baltimore, Maryland pays 24% on a tax certificate. So I called on the phone. I got a woman on the phone and I said, I'd like to buy some tax lien certificates. You could do the same thing. And she said, great. And I said, how much do you pay in Baltimore? And she said, 24%. I said, great. I said, can you send me a list? She said, I'm going to send you a catalog. Folks, she sent me a catalog, and there was 9,127 certificates that I could buy. Now, folks, we're having a virtual event today. Sometimes I have 100 people on the call. Sometimes I have 200 people. All right. I don't know how many people are going to show up, but I can tell you if I take all of those people with me and we go to Baltimore, we can't buy all the certificates in Baltimore. So how would you like to make 24%? This is a powerful investment. All right. So from there, what did I do? I started calling other places. I'm going to show you some examples now. So I called Tampa, Florida, and I'm just going to get a newspaper here to show you because I don't think people would believe me. So I called Tampa, Florida, and they said that they had tax lien certificates also. All right. All right. Now, when I called there, they said they had as many as I wanted, but they couldn't send me a list and I'd have to call the newspaper. So I called the newspaper and look at the newspaper. They sent me the newspaper and no, folks, there's no pictures in here. There's just thousands of tax lien certificates. Now in Florida alone, there'll be 1 million certificates available. 1 million certificates available this year. Okay, later on, I'm going to show you how we do this in other counties. But let's continue here. All right, so tax lien certificates, they're in half of the counties, in half of the states. So now let's learn and transition to tax defaulted property. Now, this is what people really get excited about. They want to get a property and get it for 10, 20, 30 cents on the dollar. All right, so I started calling counties that sell tax defaulted property. So this is a picture of all the counties in New York. So I called New York and I started with the counties and each county, and I called them and I said, I'd like to buy tax defaulted property. So when you want to do that in New York, what they'll do is they'll either put you online, which if they're online, they'll do that, or they'll send you a brochure. So let me find one. Here's some on my desk right here. So they'll send me a brochure like this. Now I'll show you a better picture closer up because you can't see me in that small screen. All right. So here's New York. And as you can see, and I'm going to do Sullivan County in a minute. All right. They send brochure like this. The auctioneer made this brochure and sent it to me. And in the brochure, they not only describe the property, but they show you a picture of the property. All right. So just like the brochure that you're looking at there on that screen, all right, I have the same thing in my hand. Okay. So all of those counties in New York. Now let me back up. All those counties in New York are going to sell properties at auction. Now they have at least one auction every year, and they can have literally, they can have 50 properties, 150 properties, and they always tell you right on the brochure. For example, I'm going to show you one in a minute, but this brochure that I'm holding up is from Orange County. That's about an hour from New York City, an hour north, and there are 206 properties available at the auction. I'm going to show you auctions that are even bigger. Now, 206 properties available at auction, and the properties are going to have starting bids of 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, even 40 cents on the dollar, because the treasurer sets a tax assessed value and they sell the properties starting bid the back taxes. Now, I don't know what it'll sell for, but the starting bid is usually very close to the back taxes. So you're kind of getting the idea. All right. So there's an auction brochure from the state of New York. Now, why don't we go through an example so that you guys can see exactly what takes place? So what takes place is each year I do 4 events a year and I invite people to come to the event and I teach them how to buy at the auction. Once they've learned that, I send them to places like New York or wherever they want to go. They can go to any state they want in the union and do that. So I sent this couple to New York to buy properties at auction. You're going to get to see all that right now. So the county I sent them to was Sullivan County. And if you really look at that brochure, you can see a little gray mark on there. It shows that that county's about an hour from New York City. Now they had 468 properties for sale. Now all the auctions aren't that big, all right? But here's the important thing. The auction is going to start at minimum bid. The minimum bid is going to be at least the back taxes, all right? There'll be no mortgage or deed of trust. If you're buying in California, there'll be no deed of trust. Buying in New York, there's going to be no mortgage. So look on the left and in the circle, the auction is going to take 2 days to get so many properties. 2 days to sell that auction. All right, let's see the same brochure, and you'll see written right on the left side of it, mortgage-free properties. All right, these auctions are taking place at least once in every county in the United States this year. So there's no less than 3,000 counties. You could plan on at least 5,000.
How about I go there? How about I go there? How about I go where? How about I go here? How about I go here? How about now? How about I go?
So I sent this couple to the auction, and I want you to write down what they actually did. So if you'll take your time and you'll just write down what they did, then we'll do some analytics and you'll see how profitable this whole thing could really be. And you could do the same thing. Remember, all the counties will have a website with the auction rules on it. They'll have a website with the properties on it, and the auction, if it's conducted by an auctioneer, you can get a brochure of what's taking place. None of this is hidden. It's all out in the wide open where everybody can find it.
I first met Ted last August through Dave Dubois' webinar, and we had decided that we really needed something more for our retirement. And when I saw tax deeds, I really knew that this was something that we could do and that would work for us.
The first time Joan brought this tax liens and deeds business to my attention, I thought it was just one of those other get-rich-quick schemes that we've seen so many of before.
Write down the numbers they're going to give you.
They're
Write
always
them
too
down.
good to be true until you actually investigate them, and then you know they are. This one here was different. Once you got into the auction part of it itself, the more we researched it, the more we found that it was viable.
We went to our first auction in June, 2 weeks ago, in Sullivan County, New York. And there were 500 properties up for auction, and we ended up buying 4 of them. The first one we got was a single-family home. It was valued at $70,000. We paid $25,000 for it. It has a tenant already in it. She's on renter's assistance, so the government is actually going to pay us $800 a month rent. The second property we bought was 27 acres of land on a beautiful side hill overlooking the river. Forested land. It's divided into 5 lots. It's valued at $175,000, and we paid $12,000 for it. Then we also bought 2 residential lots. They're both about 2 acres, and one we paid $1,000 for, one we paid $600 for. They're both valued at $20,000.
Without taking Ted's course, we'd never have learned how to do tax deeds and liens. We had heard about them before, but you know, it's very difficult to find the lists of properties that are available, and let alone trying to find which counties have sales on at what time and all that kind of stuff.
But Ted gives us all that information. It's very well laid out. And we're just excited about our future. This is going to give us all of our dreams and hopes fulfilled, because we do it together, and the earning potential is unlimited.
Retirement, here we come.
Okay, now I want you to stay with me, because what we're going to do is going to do the analytics on what they just did. So the first property they bought was a single family home, and it was valued at $70,000. Now, I don't make the values, the tax assessor does that. So it's a tax assessed value that's considered a trusted source. All right, the value is $70,000, they paid $25,000. All right, now they had a tenant in it, and the tenant was generating $850 a month. So that means they're getting $10,000 income. So I don't know if you put $25,000 in and you're getting $10,000, I think I said a month, but $10,000 a year, you're getting $10,000 a year in income. I don't know if you want to sell that, but you can make up your mind if you want to do that. Probably be a relatively easy sale, so you could sell it and make the money. The second one was 27 acres. They said it was a wooded lot. It was on the water. Now look at the tax assessed value. It's sky high, $127,000. Now, if I say the value, no one's going to believe me. And a lot of sellers try to establish value. But what people look at, they do look at the tax assessed value. Sometimes it's a little high, sometimes a little low, but people trust those values. So here's a value of $175,000, and they paid $12,000. Now think about what they just did. They spent $12,000, and the property is worth $175,000. That means they spent 6 cents on the dollar. Now hold on just a second. Folks, if you can buy property for 6 cents on the dollar, and there's no mortgage or no deed of trust, could you sell it for 16 cents and make money? Could you sell it for 26 cents on the dollar? Well, it's going to be up to you. All right. How would you go about selling it? Well, you could put it on eBay. You could put it on Craigslist. You could use Zillow. You could use the multiple listing service. You could put signs on the property. My point is, if you can do bargain real estate and sell it at a bargain, someone's going to want to do that, going to buy that property. So I established a system a long time ago. It's not a secret system by any means, where I buy it low, 6 cents on the dollar, and then I'm going to sell it low so I can sell it quickly. Why do I want to sell quickly? Because I know how to go to an auction. I want to have money to go to the next auction. So I buy it low and sell it low. Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I just drove around a little bit. I looked at the parking lot at Walmart. That was full. What did that tell me? They buy it low and they sell it low. How about Target? Do they do the same thing? Costco does the same thing. Why don't we just follow those systems, buy these properties for low prices, and then resell them? Anybody can do that. So I call this my Walmart strategy. So when I'm going to advertise it, I can put it in the newspaper. I can put it on Craigslist. I can put a multiple listing. I can put signs on it. You can do anything you want because now you own the property. So let's think about this Walmart strategy. So what if we did put it in a newspaper? So we could say you have an auction bargain. As soon as you say auction, everybody wants to in on the deal, must sell. So 175, but I'm not going to try to sell for 175, and I would tell you not to. Why don't we give a 65% discount? Wow, look at that, 65%. So you tell me, is it going to take you four weeks, or is it going to take you 4 days? I don't know what it is going to sell the property, but you could sell it quickly. Now, I know what some people say. You say, Ted, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Yes, I am, because I want to get my cash and move on to the next one. So look what we did. She invested $12,000. You heard her say that, and she's going to sell for $62,000. That's a nice profit. I'm sure you could live with it. All right, now let's say you're a cheapskate and you're just starting out. She said she bought 2 other properties. Okay, the other properties were residential lots. All right, now one of the residential lots was valued at $20,000. She paid $1,000. Could you sell it for $4,900? Could you sell for $39,000? Could you sell for $10,000? I don't know, but you could certainly go buy low, sell low, and get action on it. Other lot, she said she spent $600 for. All right, could you sell that for $4,900 and be happy? You're getting the idea. Folks, you could be doing this online. I have people that are buying properties online. Now, you got to have someone go look at it because you would never want to buy a property without looking at it. You got to look at it and take a good survey of be able to resell it. All right, this is a money-making system. Why does it make money? Because we're buying it low and we can sell it for anything we want. It's a margin business. We buy it low and we just get some margin and then resell it again. What if we want to do this all online? You can do it that same way. All right, now this is an important slide. All right, it's this old saying in real estate. It's very old. You make your money when you buy, not when you sell. In the tax defaulted business, we make all our money when we buy at that auction. Now, folks, I'm going to give you a game plan. If you'll follow the game plan, it's a step-by-step process, okay? We're going to buy these properties for pennies on the dollar. If you'll get this part of it right, it's going to be clear sailing for you. I'm telling you, it'll be clear sailing. However, if you don't get this right, what's going to happen is you're going to spin your wheels and you're not going to make the money you deserve. This is why we can make money in this business, is because we're buying at rock bottom dollar at these auctions. Now, do sometimes the prices go sky high? Yes, they do. I don't know what's going to happen to the auction price, but I know that I can access every county in the United States sitting in your kitchen, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a few minutes. All right, so what am I telling you? You make your money when you buy at the tax auction. These auctions are going to be conducted in every county in the United States. There'll be over 3,000 counties auctioning property. So follow me along, and it says right on the slide. If you get this right, you're going to have a nice, smooth business, clear sailing, just like the ship you see there. But if you get it wrong, you're going to be like on a hamster wheel. You're going to be spinning your wheels, and guess what? You'll only make a fraction of what you want. So what you want to do is you want to be able to make big money. So we're going to make our big money by buying low and then selling low. And who's going to buy it? Fixer-upper people, people that want to do renovations, people that want to sell them as flippers. A lot of people want to buy these properties at a bargain. Why don't we service those people? They're all looking for properties. I see them at my events all the time because they're all looking for deals. We can get all the deals we want at tax defaulted auctions. All right, my point is you can make $25,000, $50,000, even $100,000. Why? Because we're buying it right. We're buying it right. So let me show you other students, including myself. I buy these properties at auction. I do this business. Why? Because I can get auction bargains. Now, do I get them for 10 cents on the dollar? Not necessarily. I'm willing to pay much more than that. I only care about the margin. I care about the margin, and that's what you can. So you're going to be shocked when you see some of these students buying for 15, 20, 30 cents on the dollar and reselling quickly and making a nice profit. Nice profit. Okay, this is a system. It's a step-by-step system. It's just like a roadmap. All right. Now, it's not a GPS. It's a roadmap. It's step by step by step. And if you'll follow it, I'll show you what's going to happen right now. So this young woman does not live in the United States. She learned it here in the United States, but now she lives in Central America. Matter of fact, she lives in San Jose, Costa Rica. But she knows how to buy online. We're going to teach you how to buy online. Okay, and then she has someone in the States look at the property for her. Now, she does not work full time. You don't want to work full time, so keep your job. Don't quit your job. Keep your job. This is part-time work. You're going to work 5-10 hours maximum a week, but you're going to make full-time money. As you're going to see, you're going to make full-time money. So what does she do? She got the list for Los Angeles. Now, I want to give you some idea of a list for Los Angeles. Okay, I'm holding in my hand a list for Los Angeles. This is a long list, all right? There's a brochure, and there's over 100 pages in this brochure of properties to sell in Los Angeles. All right, so she's going to buy in Los Angeles, but she's going to do it online, okay? All right, so she stays at home, raises her family. Her top bid was $14,000, but the tax assessed value was $200,000. Let's listen and see what happened to her.
I came across Ted Thomas material sometime in July of last year, and it was just really good timing because we were just about at time looking for something with greater returns, something that will give us more time to spend with family and enjoy our family more while being able to live the life we've always dreamed of. Because I attended Ted's 3-day workshop, I knew that LA has a 2-day auction. What happens is whatever they don't sell on the first day, they sell half price on the second day. And that is how we ended up with our lot. We paid $14,000 for a lot that was assessed, I believe, $210,000.
You more than doubled our money.
And move on to the next deal. Yes. So we have 2 girls, almost 11 and 6 years old, and this new business will really give us more time to focus on our family, spend more time with our family, travel more. For instance, when we went to King County, we took the kids to Vancouver because that's where our family is, so they could visit grandma. At the same time, we spent time with them. So it was a bit of a family vacation / business trip, which is always nice. And being able now to work on this, not every day, 7-8 hours a day, but more kind of come and go basis, you have more free time to take family trips, to enjoy each other and make those memories that most people are just too busy, too stressed out to do when they simply, employed somewhere and they don't have time for themselves and their loved ones.
Folks, they're living the kind of life they want to live, and they're making the kind of money they want. All right, now, once again, these properties come with no mortgage and no deed of trust loan, okay? The county treasurer wipes those encumbrances off the property. It's the law in every single state. Now, a few deals like that are going to make you feel pretty darn secure. Now, let's think about this. Is she going out and commuting to work? Is she getting all dressed up fancy? Does she need a lot of money? Folks, she didn't need a lot of money, but she's going to make a lot of money. And is she living where she wants to live? The point is, once you learn how to do this, you can learn any way you want where there's an internet connection and there's an American bank that'll work with you. That's all you need to do. All right, now, it's a simple business. You can buy low and sell low. I didn't say it was easy. I said it was a simple business. You can buy low and sell low. You are going to have to do some work. I believe in wholesaling the properties out. Some people like to do lots of fix up when they do it. All right, I like to make sure that I'm going to be able to do what? I want to make sure that I can sell it and sell it quickly. Now, let me show you someone else that's outside the United States. All right, this man lives in Regina, Saskatchewan. Now, Saskatchewan's a big province in Canada. All right, now the top of that map in Saskatchewan is the Arctic Circle. The bottom of it is the United States. All right, this guy lives in Regina, Saskatchewan. That's spelled with an R. So all you guys that like to joke around, it's spelled with R-E-G. So get this. This guy wants to buy in the States because his rental business is caving in because of all the government regulations they had. So I taught him, I said, here's what I think you should do. You should start out by buying residential lots. In other words, find a subdivision that has a lot that's coming up for auction. He said, okay, all right. Now what he wants to do is he wants to just buy properties and resell them. He does not want to own the properties long-term, not a long-term investment. Now, I told you, he's in Regina, Saskatchewan, and he decided he wanted to buy in the Los Angeles Basin, and he picked Riverside County. All right. Now, before he did a lot of work, he went and had brokers look at these properties. All right. The ones that he liked, that he was going to buy, he found them online. We showed him. Then he had brokers tell him what the value was, to take pictures of it. In other words, he wanted to sell those properties quickly. So let's look and see what happened. He did all of this from his basement office. All right. So we're looking for low risk, big reward, residential vacant lot. All right. Now, he bought in Riverside County. The prices there, I'd have to say, are sky high. This is a residential lot in a subdivision. The property value is $229,000. I didn't establish that value. The treasurer did. All right. But he's going to buy it at auction. And he's looking for a deal, and he made a deal at 15 cents on the dollar. So he spent $35,000. My system is buy it low. Let's see how quickly we can sell it. So you got those same brokers to go out and start working on selling of it. Within 30 days, he sold it and made a $20,000 profit. Folks, I'm not talking about how much money he could have made. What he did is he proved the system would work, and he did it in a low risk environment. So he bought online, he bought a residential lot, it had a high value, he got rid of it quickly, made himself $20,000. Let's listen to hear what he had to say.
My name is Kelly Osmack, and I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan. I'm a Ted Thomas student. I had purchased a lot in Riverside County, at Riverside. I purchased it for $35,000, and after I got my title, I listed it. It was listed for a month, and I got a full cash offer of $55,000 US.
Okay, now can he retire now on $20,000? I don't think so, but he proved the concept. So let's see what he did. Well, he went back to work and started looking at another county. And he also started finding investors because he realized this was a business he could make a lot of money at. So let's see how
After that deal, I went to the Kitsap County in Washington and purchased a 5-acre parcel in Kingston. And I paid $131,000 for that property. It had a 1,300 square foot manufactured home and a barn on the property. Really nice property. I had it listed at $280,000, and I received a full price offer in 4 days.
Now think about what he said. He said he sold it in 4 days. Folks, how long does it take to sell a property? 1 month, 2 months, whatever it's going to take. He sold in 4 days. Why? Because the property was worth about $400,000. About $400,000, and he sold it for $280,000. Yes, he left money on the table, but you already saw how much money he's going to make. What are we talking about here? We're talking about a business that someone's sitting at home in another country buying property. Look at this property. He sold it for $280,000 and he bought it for $130,000. All right. I don't know where you are in the spectrum of money. Maybe you only have $20,000 or $30,000 or $50,000. But folks, look at what's available in these auctions. All right. Now he can give it up and not do anything. But let me just show you one more example. These properties are all available to you. Now, why are they available to you? You can do it right in your kitchen or in your living room or anywhere else. That thumb drive you're looking at right now will access every county in the United States. You're looking at a map of all the counties in the United States. I give all my clients this thumb drive so you can access every single county in the United States. So as I begin to finish up here, I want you to take a look and see what he did.
I went back to Riverside because it's a great place. I love Riverside for whatever reason. In May, I bought another property. It's in Desert Hot Springs. It's another 5-acre parcel. It's awesome. Yeah, I bought this property for $177,000. 5 acres of land. On Zillow, they had it listed in 2011 for $798,000. There's this house. There's another 900 square foot nanny mother-in-law house. There's outbuildings. It's a beautiful property. I had a realtor go look at it, and he said, "Yeah, it's in, like, from the exterior, looks like it's in decent shape. Depending what the inside is, he said it could range for anywhere from 500 to 800. I'll probably clear 100,000 US on that deal. I've never left my basement office, ever."
Folks, think of his last words. He said he never left his basement office. He's doing this online. So let's take a look at his numbers. The value, you heard him say what the realtor said, he didn't even try to get that. He just wanted to get rid of the property. He paid a nice sum for it, 177. Sold it, made himself another $100,000. My point is, you can do this. You can do it online or you can do it offline. Okay, there's going to be plenty of auctions. They're taking place across the United States. Okay, is every deal a great deal like you're seeing? Well, of course not. But how many auctions do you have to go to make this kind of money in the end of a year and start feeling pretty good? I don't know that every property is going to look like that. Folks, ask yourself the question, would this work for you? If it would, you probably want to start thinking about whether this is a good time to get started. Let me do a quick review. Tax liens and deeds, I love that business. Why? Because these are fixed rates of return. So if you're a conservative investor, you want to use it for your IRA or your little old lady, or you're like me, you got a lot of that gray hair, you want to be very conservative. Well, guess what? Tax lien certificates are perfect, okay? They're predictable, they're certain, and they're secure. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we don't buy any junk. I'm not interested in junk. I won't teach you to buy that stuff. That's not a fixer-upper. That one's going to cost you a lot of money just to clean the lot off. You don't want to do those kind of property. You want to buy good, decent property. Now, I don't get on here and brag about myself, but I'm going to tell you, I buy these properties, and I don't necessarily get them for 10 cents on the dollar. There's a property that I bought for 35 cents on the dollar because I'm interested in the margin from my price to what I can sell it for. If there's a big margin, I want in on that deal because there's no mortgage, there's no deed of trust. Now, that's not a junker property by any means. Look at those 75-foot trees. That's got a big circular driveway in the front. Here's a quick picture of the inside after I cleaned it up. Folks, these properties are available at auction. I'll show you a couple of more. Look at this one. It's on a lake. All right. I don't get these properties for 10 cents on the dollar. So every deal is not a steal, but there are a steal. If I can buy a $200,000 property and I can get it for $60,000 or $70,000, I can tell you right now, I'm buying that property, okay? Other people don't want to do that, but I sure do. All right, now is every property a perfect one? No. This one's on 5 acres. I paid less than 20 cents on the dollar on this one. All right, that lake in the front has got a stream, and in the stream, there's beavers in there, there's deer in the back. Look at the wooded area behind it, 5 acres of land. You can see what the inside looked up after we finished. Folks, I'm buying on margin. You want big deals? There's plenty of these big deals out there. Here's one that came with too much. This one came with 12 acres of land. People don't want 12 acres because they're going to have to maintain it. So I subdivided, just cut it. I kept 7 acres and gave the guy, I kept 5 acres, he kept 7. And again, spent 40 cents on the dollar, 35, 40 cents on the dollar. Look at the inside. Folks, everywhere we go, there are these deals. Some people are getting properties for 20 cents on the dollar. I'm not afraid to pay more because I'm looking for the margin. Look, if I can get it for this and the property's worth that, that's what I want to do. So you're kind of getting the idea. Now, look, you guys are watching a webinar. And if you tell your friends about this webinar, I'm not suggesting you do that. Why? Because nobody can believe what we're really doing. Now, if you go out and tell your friend that you saw someone buying a property and getting a 90% discount, your friend is going to say, no, that's not happening. So they're going to disparage you. They're going to say to you, you're crazy. It's a scheme. Folks, it's not a scheme. I have already showed you people that are doing this. You have been sitting here watching me. And guess what? You saw Risha and you saw the Davis family. They had a 94% discount. Ask yourself this question. If you could get a 94% discount, would you be able to make money? All right, we just looked at our young lady, Velez, and she's down there in San Jose, Costa Rica. She got a 93% discount. Why can we do all that? Because number one, we can get you access. We can get you to all 3,000 counties in the United States. All right, so let's go to another state. You want to go to, let's go to Michigan. Let's take a look. There's a subdivision. This is a subdivision that didn't get finished. The ones that are finished are on the left side. Brand new buildings. Look at these buildings. These are beautiful properties, $150,000, $200,000. All right. And the contractor, the builder, the developer went broke. So look on the right side. That's the other side of the subdivision. All those lots, look, really squint at that slide. You see everything that's outlined in red. Those properties went back to tax auction. My client, who I'm going to show you a picture of in a minute. All right. What did the client do? The client bought those properties for $200 to $800 each. Those lots are worth $20,000, $25,000, maybe even more, thousands of dollars. He's buying for $800 or $900. I don't know what you're going to get to the auction, but here's what I do know. This guy, doing just what I'm telling him to do, bought 60 properties in the last 6 years. And here's the beauty of what he did. Because he was doing it in Michigan, he could do it using credit cards. He bought all of those properties using credit cards. And as he sold the properties off, he paid off the credit cards. Folks, you could go to Texas, which I talked about earlier. In 2 days, you could make $25,000. Okay. How about if you go to Georgia? Georgia is my favorite state. You can make 20% in 10 days. If you bought the certificate today and they paid you off in 10 days, guess what? 20%. Where are you going to make these kind of profit? Now, I know there's a lot of people out there, you're doing fixer-upper property. You like fixer-uppers? Well, watch this woman. She likes to do fixer-upper properties and rentals. She loves the rental business. All right, I understand that. A lot of women want to be in the rental business. Why? Because they want steady income. And I get that, all right? So I don't know where you are in the scale of things, but you're going to be the judge and the jury and see if she did the right thing. All right, now training is important. When I say training is important, think of what people are paying today when they have to go to school. This is what young people are going through. Look at these numbers. 4 years, they're going to spend $250,000, or they're going to spend $150,000 or whatever. Okay, my training doesn't cost anywhere near that. All those 3 trainings you see above mine, guess what? Not one of them teaches you how to make money. We teach people how to make money. Let me show you some ideas how we do that. This is a video training course. All right, I'm showing you a picture of it. It actually all comes online, but look at to the right of it. There's a live group coaching certificate. Folks, every client that gets involved with me, I give them that certificate. I say, I give you that certificate. It has a value of $5,000 because we have a coach for these people for 1 year. In other words, every Wednesday night for the past 13 years, a person had a coach. So you don't just get a course material with us and then we forget you. No, we got someone there that's there to help you all year long, all year long. All right, so training I think is important. Now I'm going to ask you to make note of 3 questions that we're going to ask this woman. Okay, what did she pay for the property? Okay, what did she rent it for? And then finally, what's the value of the property? All right, I'd like you to listen to this video and then you can write these down as you hear her say them, and then I'll give you the analytics on it and you'll see how good this business really is. Here she is.
There are tons and tons of tax deed properties available here in the area that I live. I mean, every month we probably go to the tax deed sales and there's anywhere from 110 to 140 properties that they're putting up the tax deeds for sale. And that's exactly how I got this one right here behind me. I bought this for the tax deed for $11,000, ended up owning the property. I'm going to rent it out for $750 a month, so I'll have it completely paid off inside of 15 months. Even though somebody's already offered me $40,000 to buy it, I'm going to keep it as a rental property because I know in 3-4 years this house is going to be worth $80,000. And I like the sort of the sounds of $80,000 versus $40,000 in terms of my retirement.
Folks, let's take a look at this if you're a rental person, because you're really going to love this. So we know what she paid. She paid $11,000. Okay, well, what was the value? Well, she'd like to think 80, but she had an offer for 40, so it's really worth 40, isn't it? So she paid 25 cents on the dollar. I'm sure you'd be happy with no mortgage and no deed of trust that you could buy a property for $40,000. All right, so if you could do, if you could buy that for $11,000, you're basically getting 25 cents on the dollar. Now that's a pretty good purchase price. All right, now let's think about what is her return on investment on this property? What is the return? Now, if you put money in the bank, you're going to get a return of maybe 3%. So if you put $11,000 in the bank, you're probably going to make $300 or $400. But she didn't do that. She put $11,000 into this property, but she's going to get a monthly payment, isn't she? So what's her monthly payment? Her monthly payment or annual payment is going to be $9,000. So let me say that again. She took her $11,000. She invested in the property. She's going to get $750 a month. That's $11,000. What's the return on investment? In the bank, it's about 3%. All right. I don't know if 3% is a great return, but I can tell you, I think 9,000 is a great return. So what does that come out on ROI? Well, that comes out to be about an 80% ROI. Who do you know is making 80% ROI on rental property? Everybody's getting rental property and they've got negative cash flow. Well, a negative cash flow is not an 80% return. What's my point? Women love this because they get income. So just look at my slide. On the bottom, it shows you if she just keeps the property and never raises the rent, she'll have made herself a bundle of dough and she'll still own the property. All right, so my question to you is, did she get her money's worth? Well, she sure did. There's where she invested the money. That's a video training course, and we'll talk more about that later on in the program. All right. I want to make sure you have a competitive advantage. So I do things a little bit different than anybody else. I'm not an internet marketer, but what I am is an investor. Okay. I want to buy tax defaulted property and I need a lot of information. And so do you. So what I do is I give every one of my clients a coach every week for 1 hour. Now, I pay that coach $100 an hour and I do it for 50 weeks. That means every time someone invests with me, I invest $5,000 to them. But I'm going to give you more than that competitive advantage because we're not going to stop there. But to make sure that you have a competitive, I give you this certificate. Now, before I tell you, I was going to give you a thumb drive, okay? All right. Now, you're going to get that and you're going to get this as part of the package. I always do that. Now, the world changed, all right? Certainly, we're by COVID-19. I'm glad. But guess what? I've been able to change all of our pricing because of that. So, folks, I don't have to go out and travel anymore. So I'm not on the airplanes anymore. I'm not advertising on TV. I don't have to go to hotels. I do everything in this little studio in the back of my office right now. And actually, all my staff get to stay here too. So this is one of the course materials that we have. Now, normally this course material is $79.97. Normally, that's what it sells for. But what happened? We don't have all that travel, no airline to pay, no hotel to pay, no travel for all our staff. So we just collapsed all the prices. All right. And I pass all that savings on to you guys. So instead of you guys investing $7,970, you're not going to have to do that because I don't have all these expenses. So look how I can bring the prices down. So that's going to be the price. We'll talk more about that later on. All right. Now, what I'm going to reveal to you now, no other company can do. No other company. They can try and copy it, but they don't have anybody to teach it, so they couldn't do it. So no company does what I'm going to do. I want to help you stay home and make money. I know you want to stay. You're going to need 5 to 10 focused hours a week. Now, I said focused, no watching YouTube videos, no visiting with the family. You're going to have to focus. This takes 5 focused hours a week. If you don't focus, you're not going to be successful. However, if I provide you with this USB, now you can access every property in the United States. Now, what does that mean? That means I can tell you the value of the property. I can tell you the values next door. I can tell you it's a 4-bedroom. I can tell you everything about that property. How can I do that? Because I can access every county. There's 3,000 counties on that map. And from your living room or using your internet connection, that thumb drive will take you to every one of those counties. I'm going to show you what happens when people have time to do research. All right. Now, this gentleman is a newspaper editor in Georgia. All right. He never had any experience, so I taught him how to do the business. All right. He wants to buy in the state of Georgia. All right. So how are you going to buy in the state of Georgia? I said, start out with a competitive advantage. You're going to have this USB. You can check every county and see what they've got for auction. And that's exactly what he did. Now, these are all the counties in Georgia. How would you know which county to go to? You wouldn't, but if you had that thumb drive, you could access every county. There's 150 of them. So he's sitting there with his computer and watch what happened to him. Folks, this guy's a preacher. He's a minister. He works in the Georgia prison system, volunteering his time. He teaches Christianity, and he also teaches Islam in the prison, donates his time. Never did a property before. Here's the first one he bought. He bought the first property. When you see what he pays for it, you're just not going to believe it, but he did it. He bought this property. Now, I don't know what it's worth. It could be worth $30,000, $50,000. I don't know what it's worth, but I can tell you this is what he paid for that property. This is what he paid. Now, this is a rentable small home where people were living in it. Okay, you had to ask them to leave because they lost the property at tax auction. All right, what's his risk? $326. $326. All right, so what did he do next? Well, he wanted to do something with it. So I said, why don't you go ahead and sell it? He said, no, I don't want to sell it. I said, well, what are you going to do? He said, why don't I rent it? I said, well, okay, go ahead and rent it. He said, what are you going to rent it for? I said, well, I don't know. I'm in Florida. I don't know what the rental in that neighborhood is. So he went around and checked the neighbors. Sure enough, he checked the neighbors and they told him he could rent this property for $700. Now think about it. He paid $326, and guess what? He could rent it for as much as $700. Well, a young guy came walking down the street, knocked on his door and said, I just got married. My dad gave me $6,000. I'll give you $6,000, not to buy it. I'll give you $6,000 if you'll let me rent it all year. He called me up. He said, is it legal for me to rent it? You've never done a deal before. I said, did you get a deed? He said, yes, I have a deed. I said, if you got a deed, go ahead and rent it. You own the property. That's exactly what he did. There's the numbers, folks. He paid $326, spent a little money fixing it up, and he got a $6,000 check. Look at the profit. Now, folks, let me be serious for a second. I don't know if you'll ever get a property for $300. I never got a property for $300. But here's what I do know. And here's what you need to plant in the back of your head. Do you know anybody that's done that? Well, I don't, but I do know this. If you don't get in the game, you're not going to be able to do it. So you're getting in the game means we're going to help you. How do we do that? We make sure you have coaching along with the products that we sell. Okay, we sell these products to make people be successful. Do we want them to be successful? We make sure because we give them guidance. We give them competitive advantages. We want to make sure everyone that does business with us is going to be successful. Can I guarantee you success? I'd like to. As a matter of fact, I even tell people I'll give them a written guarantee to guarantee they're successful. Now, let me do this before I finish. Folks, we're online today. The online people, I don't know if they all have integrity. I just don't know, because there's a lot of worthless training out there. There's nothing worthless about this. This is high intensity training. The internet is full of people that might take your money. We're not going to take your money. I'll guarantee we're not going to take your money, because here's what I'm going to do. And you should keep this in the back of your mind. Don't take anybody's products unless they'll give you a written guarantee. If you're going to buy a home study course, you want to make sure you're getting a written guarantee. Now, I don't joke around about this. I make sure that I'm serious. And I tell people, you just follow the rules and you'll be okay, but we're going to give you a written guarantee. And there it is. I'm going to issue that to you and I'm going to sign it. Now, you can take that to your attorney if you want to, but I'll tell you right now, you don't have to take it to your attorney, because I'll guarantee it. Watch what my guarantee is. I'm going to give you my guarantee right now. You can't find anyone that'll do a guarantee like I'm going to. So reading on the first line, if you can't find tax lien certificates in the next 60 days after getting my material, I'll have the people in my office find 5 tax lien certificates where you can learn 10 to 15%. I'll have someone in my office do it for you. There it is. It's in writing. All right. Well, some of you don't want tax certificates. You want to buy tax defaulted property? This is the world's best guarantee. You're looking at it. I'll guarantee that you're going to be able, if you can't get a tax defaulted property, the ones you want, I'll have the people in my office locate the property for you. Now, they're not going to put the money up for you. They're not going to do any of that, but they'll help you if you have trouble locating it. So we're serious investors. We want to make sure that you're successful, give you a competitive advantage, give you extra training. Now I'm giving you a guarantee. Would anybody else do that? I don't think so, but we'll do that because we want to make sure that you're going to do well. All right, you're not going to spend $8,000. You're not going to spend $7,997. You're going to get it way better than that. Okay, that's the value, but we collapsed all our prices. So later on, when we talk about pricing, you're not going to spend that big money. You're going to spend pennies on the dollar. You're going to get an 80%. You're going to get an 80% discount. Now, the next speaker coming up is going to be Bill Williams. I'm going to come back and tell you about him in just a few minutes. But right now, we're going to go ahead and go on a 5-minute break. Now, we're going to put music on and you'll see a countdown. So I'll see you again in 5 minutes. I hope you guys are learning a lot and you're ready to take action.
Good